#retirement savings script. Most people are about to get a devastating wake-up call. According to the Federal Reserve, nearly 7 out of 10 Americans have less than $100,000 saved for retirement, and if you're over 35, that number probably includes you. But here's the good news. We're going to show you exactly how to fix this before it's too late. I'm talking to you right now because you're probably feeling that knot in your stomach. You know the one. It's 2 a.m. and you're scrolling through your bank account thinking, am I going to be okay? You're not alone. In fact, you're in the majority. And that's exactly why I made this video. Let me tell you a quick story. About 2 years ago, I met this guy named Marcus at a coffee shop. He was 48 years old, worked a solid job in it, made decent money. But when he told me he had about $87,000 saved for retirement, I could see the panic in his eyes. He'd been ignoring the problem for years. Every time he thought about it, he'd just close the app and tell himself he'd deal with it later. Sound familiar? Here's what Marcus didn't realize, and what most Americans don't realize, is that time is literally your superpower. The younger you are right now, the more powerful compound interest becomes. This isn't just financial advice. This is the difference between retiring comfortably and working until you're 75. So let's break down exactly what's happening to Americans right now, why most of us are falling so far behind, and more importantly, the exact system you can use starting today to catch up and actually get ahead. The first thing you need to understand is this: the retirement system is broken. Not broken in the way that it can't work, broken in the way that it was designed assuming things that aren't true anymore. Most people are following a retirement plan their grandparents would recognize, but their grandparents had pensions. They had job security for 30 years with one company. They had Social Security that actually replaced a meaningful portion of their income. None of that is guaranteed for us. The average American who is retiring today spent about 25 to 30 years at their job. The average American today changes jobs every 4.2 years. That completely changes the game. When you change jobs, you lose momentum. You lose matching contributions from employers. You lose track of old retirement accounts. The system assumes we're going to stay put, but we're not. And here's the thing that nobody talks about. The goalposts keep moving. Financial advisors used to say you needed 25 times your annual salary saved. Then it became 30 times. Now some people are saying 35 or 40 times because people are living longer. A woman who is 65 today has a decent chance of living into her 90s. That's 25 to 30 years of retirement spending. That's a long time to fund without a paycheck. So why is the average person so far behind? There are really 4 big reasons, and recognizing them is half the battle. First, nobody teaches us this stuff. You probably spent more time learning about photosynthesis than you did learning about compound interest, and yet compound interest is going to have way more impact on your life. It's genuinely insane. You go through 13 years of school, and then suddenly you're expected to navigate 401ks, Roth IRAs, investment allocation, and tax strategy. Of course, people are falling behind. They were never taught the game. Second, lifestyle inflation is the silent killer. You get a raise, and suddenly your expenses rise too. You never actually get ahead because your lifestyle adjusts to whatever you're earning. I've seen people making 6 figures living paycheck to paycheck because they adjusted their lifestyle accordingly. And here's the brutal part. If you're not saving during the high-income years, you're basically out of luck. Third, we're competing against behavioral psychology. Our brains are wired to prefer immediate rewards over future rewards. That's why spending money feels good and saving money feels painful. Retirement is abstract. Your brain can't actually visualize 30 years from now as clearly as it can visualize the new car you want right now. This is why most retirement plans fail. They're fighting against human nature. Fourth, and maybe most important, people don't have a concrete number. They don't know what they're saving toward. They just know they should save more. That's like saying you should go to the gym without knowing why you're going to the gym. Is it to run a marathon? To lose 10 pounds? To build muscle? Without a target, you have no way to know if you're on track or not. And if you don't know if you're on track, you won't stay committed. So here's what we're actually going to do about this. I'm going to give you 3 specific action items that are going to change your retirement trajectory, and then I'm going to show you the exact formula to know if you're on track. Action item number 1, calculate your retirement number. This is not some abstract thing. This is a concrete number that you're going to write down. Here's the formula, and it's actually pretty simple. Take your current annual expenses and multiply by 25. So if you spend $60,000 per year, you need $1.5 million saved. That number comes from something called the 4% rule, which basically says if you save 25 times your annual expenses, you can withdraw 4% per year and theoretically never run out of money. Now, this isn't perfect science, but it gives you a real target. Let's use Marcus as an example again. He was spending about $75,000 per year. That means his retirement number is 25 times $75,000, which is $1.875 million. When he first calculated this number, he actually felt worse. He was 48 with $87,000 saved, and his target was almost $2 million. That feels devastating, but here's where it gets interesting. Action item number 2, ruthlessly optimize your savings rate. This is where most people go wrong. They think savings rate means cutting lattes and being miserable. That's actually backwards. Savings rate means the percentage of your income that goes into investments. And here's the good news, there are 2 ways to improve your savings rate. You can decrease spending, or you can increase income. And honestly, increasing income is usually easier and more fun. Think about it this way. If you're making $70,000 per year and you cut your spending by 20%, you might save an extra $14,000 per year. That's painful. Or you could spend 6 months learning a skill that increases your income by 20%, which would be an extra $14,000 per year, and it's actually enjoyable. You're building something instead of restricting yourself. For Marcus, this was the breakthrough. He was a talented IT guy, but he wasn't using that talent. He realized he could pick up freelance work on the side, not a grinding side hustle that would burn him out, but using his existing expertise. He found projects on platforms where companies were willing to pay decent money for the specific type of work he did. He committed to bringing in an extra $20,000 per year. That might not sound like a huge number, but let me show you why it matters. Action item number 3, leverage automated investing and tax-advantaged accounts. And I'm going to be very specific here because this is where the magic actually happens. Most people are not maximizing their tax-advantaged retirement accounts. They're not doing it intentionally, usually. They just don't know the tools available. If you have access to a 401k at work, you should be putting at least enough in to get the full employer match. That's free money. That's literally your employer handing you extra cash. If you're not taking it, you're rejecting a raise, full stop. After that, you should be maxing out a Roth IRA if you're eligible. In 2024, that's $7,000 per year. If you're over 50, it's $8,000. This money grows tax-free. You don't pay taxes on the gains, ever. Do you understand how powerful that is? After you max those out, you go back to your 401k and contribute as much as you can. In 2024, the limit is $23,500 if you're under 50. For Marcus, here's what this looked like. He already had a 401k at his job and was getting the full match, which was great. He then opened a Roth IRA and started putting in $700 per month. He also set up automatic transfers so he didn't have to think about it. That $700 per month comes out before he even sees it in his checking account, so he doesn't miss it. But here's the real game changer for him, that extra $20,000 per year from freelance work. He automated 75% of that straight into additional retirement contributions. That's $15,000 extra per year going into a backdoor Roth IRA, which is a specific strategy if you make too much to contribute directly. Don't worry if you're not familiar with that term. The point is, he found a way to get that money into tax-advantaged accounts. Now let's do the math on what this actually means. Marcus was 48 and had $87,000 saved. He was going to live to hopefully 90 or beyond. That's 42 years of retirement. His expenses were $75,000 per year. His target was $1.875 million. The difference was $1.788 million. That sounds impossible, right? But here's where compound interest enters the chat. Assuming a 7% average annual return, which is historically reasonable for a diversified portfolio, if Marcus saved $35,000 per year from this point forward, he would have approximately $2.1 million by the time he was 65, about 17 years from when he calculated this. That overshoots his target. He'd actually be okay. But what if he couldn't save that much? Let's say he could only save $25,000 per year. He'd have about $1.5 million by 65. That's short of his $1.875 million target, but it's not catastrophic. He could either work a couple more years or reduce his spending slightly in retirement. This is why the formula matters. It's not save as much as you can and hope for the best. It's know your target, know the gap, and know exactly how much you need to save to close it. Once you know that number, you can actually make a plan. You can actually commit to it. So here's your assignment. I want you to pause this video right now and calculate your retirement number. Take your annual expenses, multiply by 25. Write it down. Then calculate how much you have saved right now. Look at the gap. Now calculate how many years until your target retirement age. If you do the math and you're not on track, you have options. You can increase savings. You can work longer. You can reduce your retirement spending expectations. You can increase your investment returns through better asset allocation. But you can't do anything if you don't know the numbers. And here's the thing that should make you feel good instead of stressed. If you're watching this and you're under 50, you're not actually that far behind. Compound interest gets exponentially more powerful the longer you have. Every single year of investment growth is significant. You still have time, you still have leverage, but you have to start now. Not next month. Not when you get a raise. Now. I know this is heavy information, but it's the information that's going to change your life if you actually apply it. Share this video with someone who needs to see it. Comment below and tell me what your retirement number is. I want to see if you're on track. And please subscribe because we're putting out videos every single week that are going to help you build actual financial security, not just hope. You've got this.